Hello and welcome to Boatrek Live. Today I'm going to be talking about Lower Decks. Now, there was an article published today, and this is from trekmovie.com, entitled New Star Trek Lower Decks Details and Images plus Hints at Next Gen Cameos. We got a little picture there of some of the cast, some of the characters. The information has been scant on the upcoming CBS All Access animated comedy Star Trek Lower Decks since the first images and details were revealed at Comic-Con last summer, but CBS has finally released a couple of more photos, and the creator is dropping some more details. New images and details from Star Trek Lower Decks. This morning, Entertainment Weekly published the first looks at some new images from Lower Decks. The first shot is of an action scene where Captain Freeman, Don Lewis, and Ensign Mariner Tawny Newsome on the front line, phasers drawn. This is a pretty cool image. We got the Cation doctor there covered in some kind of ooze of some sort. The above scene shows members of the bridge crew along with the four primary lower decks ensigns who are the primary focus of the show. This looks to be shot from inside the USS Saratov, described as a city-sized starship, with the crew possibly dealing with some kind of intruder, resulting in some of the characters getting covered in either oil or, in Bolmer's case, some kind of purple slime. I'm not sure if I pronounced that name right. Creator Mike McMahon gave EW some details on Captain Freeman. She is sort of trying to do this balancing act all captains do, where they demand respect and are admired and trusted by the crew, but then they also kind of have to be the bad guy. And a thing we play with a lot is that the lower deckers don't always get all the information they're delegated to, but they don't get to have a voice. But they don't get to have a voice, and they don't get to know the context a lot of the time. So they're kind of kept in the dark on a lot of more classified, higher level information. The second image released features the four ensigns in a more relaxed moment. Okay. It looks like the replicator on the USS Saratov makes a good margarita. McMahon explains how the show balances the bridge crew plot stories with character stories of the lower decks ensigns. He says, the big stories are happening in the bridge crew, and there's more kind of... Let me read that again, sorry. The big stories are happening in the bridge crew, and there's more kind of social, emotional stories happening on the lower decks. So it's like their job and the world they're in get affected by these sci-fi stories. But the funny thing, too, is that whatever menial job you have to do in Star Trek, it might be something that they do every day. But it's still sort of fascinating. It's still sort of a fascinating look into stuff that happens on board that haven't been highlighted in other series. So instead of being on the turbo lift, the elevators in Trek, like we need to clarify that. But anyway, our guys are repairing the turbo lift. We also spend a lot of time in the bar, so you'll also see the lower deckers go on away missions doing things that the bridge crew doesn't have to deal with. And we go into TNG era cameos. Star Trek Lower Decks is set in the TNG era after the film Star Trek Nemesis. While not coming out and confirming it, McMahon hints to EW that we Lower Decks will not shy away from drop-ins. And he says, there are a lot of recognizable characters in the galaxy at that point. Next Gen is my favorite era, and as a huge Trek fan, I would definitely want to try to use some of them so that I could not only build out the world, but also work with some of my heroes. But I can't get more specific than that. You'll have to wait and see. The Entertainment Weekly article is the first significant promo, blah, blah. We still don't have a release date beyond the info that the first season is expected to arrive sometime in 2020, and we are still waiting for the first trailer. Yeah, so I like this image here. Bring that up. Very enthused for this show. I recently started rewatching Rick and Morty, which I watched a few years ago and then stopped watching. And I recently watched a show called Solar Opposites, which Mike McMahon is the co-creator, and that show is just bonkers. And I watched a live stream with my friend Sean from Trek in the Tube earlier, and he explained to me that Mike McMahon is making this. It's not going to be like Rick and Morty. It's not going to be like Solar Opposites. It's going to be more like Data's Day, the TNG episode. That kind of humorous feel or comedic style. But I think it really will be its own thing. It's going to be a very unique Trek series. And it's not going to poke fun at Star Trek like the way, I guess, Rick and Morty kind of pokes fun at all of the sci-fi tropes. It's going to use what's in the Trek world in possibly clever ways, and apparently there are going to be a lot of deep cut jokes and stuff like that. So I really want to see a trailer. I want to see the style of the animation. Rick and Morty has a certain style of animation that I find is entertaining to watch, but I think Solar Opposites has this like slightly more polished style of animation. A very interesting show, and although Lower Decks of course won't be like that, I'm interested to see what Mike McMahon is going to bring to this universe. So yeah, very much looking forward to Lower Decks. I want to see a trailer for Lower Decks. I want to see a trailer for Discovery Season 3. Don't know when any of that's going to happen. Hopefully soon. So thanks for watching, and live long and prosper.